Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome to NFT Live on the Web3 Network. We're going to take you around the Web3 industry, hopefully in around an hour. Good to see you guys in chat early. Nice to have my official co-hosts up here, Huda, Biggie Poppins, Gifted. We're going to get to them in just a moment. Like I said, you are on NFT Live here today. We do these shows daily, 1 p.m. Eastern, always trying to give you guys the best information, and that's why we've assembled this Avengers crew. A lot happened in the last 24 hours, so it's going to be a pretty packed episode. We're going to try to keep it on schedule for you guys. A lot happening around. Of course, the topic that you see on the thumbnail, Avalanche, seems to be catching a bid on the sentiment. Everyone's kind of feeling, what's the next Solana? What's happening here? Where's the energy going to flow? Where's the liquidity going to flow? So that's going to be a primary topic. We've got parallel updates, Prime hitting past 950 or around that overnight. Epic Games. We got a Ledger STAX announcement to kind of get to. Flooring rebranded. So a lot of stuff is hitting my dashboard here. And of course, we've got some updates to come from these individuals as well. Let's go around the quad box. Huda, how are you doing, my friend?
GM, sir. Yeah, I'm great. Kind of come into this feeling like a chicken with his head cut off sometimes. Like there's just, I mean, on top of there being so much going on, it's just like, I just feel like I'm scrambling sometimes. So I am good. I'm trying to get caught up with actually what is happening and just been deep in the market. Yesterday, today are my heavy writing days. And I'm like analyzing the market and man, I think it might be hotter than people realize. Like when you look at the numbers and you see how it stacks up to recent weeks and months, and at this point, even years, it's really, really interesting stuff going on. So I'll point out some of that throughout the show, but it's good to be here with you guys.
All right, and I'm linking out, of course, the 5-minute update you do daily, so you guys can check it out, and it will be in the description as well. All right, Biggie Poppins. How you doing, my friend? It's tough times over there in the proof ecosystem, but you, of course, are hanging strong. I know you are. Talking a little bit about some, not competitors, I think, to Solana, but like what you're seeing on the horizon when it comes to these other protocols. But how are you doing today, bro?
Good, man. Honestly, I'm good. I'm kind of like already accustomed to these things happening and popping off all the time. It's unfortunate that it's right when Grant Yun is launching his exhibition with proof and when Grails is looking so flying beautiful, but like there's some people out there that they're toxic and they love to spread hearsay and build narratives and live off of this FUD, and it's an unfortunate thing, but I think the brave just plow through that shit and bounces off of me. So as far as I'm concerned, we're killing it, dude. Proof team is killing it. So it's unfortunate, but we can address it if you guys like later. I don't find it that interesting, to be honest.
We'll barely touch on it. I need that inside info from Biggie Poppins here. All right, sure. Gifted, the humble Web3 Sherpa, the Goku of Ethereum. Is there another one? Mr. Round Trip GIF. How are you doing today, my friend?
Don't forget Mr. Live Mint.
Mr. Live Mint. How could I?
Honestly, I'm with Huda. I feel like a chicken with his head cut off today. I think it's because I took a bunch of like NyQuil and tried to actually get good sleep last night. And so maybe I'm just foggy. Maybe the caffeine isn't strong enough. But yeah, I feel like this. And also, sometimes on GM Web3, I feel like people are purposefully trying to derail the show at every opportunity. And I'm just like, man, trying to run a professional show sometime on Spaces is a task. But you know what? We had a good time. We usually do. And I'm excited to be here with y'all.
I am interested in this because we haven't talked about it at all on NFT Live, but we have a bunch of creators up here who host their own Spaces. Spaces is getting video. So we get to see Gifted in all his glory at 8 a.m. Pacific. That'll be interesting.
Really? We're getting video now?
By December. He just said by end of December.
I'll give you behind the scenes. I'll give you behind the scenes of what this is gonna look like for me. It means I'm gonna be getting up even earlier to try and actually look somewhat decent and professional. So like I already get up at like 6:45 pretty much each morning, 6:45, 7 a.m. and then just roll straight out of bed basically into the show. I'm gonna have to get up even earlier to like shower, brush my teeth and like shave or something. So I'm gonna be that's gonna be ridiculous. I'm gonna be waking up at like 6 or 5:45 each morning.
You're gonna be wearing a suit before we know it, man. What the hell?
All right. Guys, good to see a
Yeah,
lot
I'm
of
gonna
people.
trade in my Chungos shirt for a suit. Yeah.
Good to see a lot of folks rolling into the chat early. You see Gifted, he's used to GM Web3. He's used to this train just going everywhere. All right. Anyways, we will get on with the episode here. Before we do so, we are going to get into the disclaimer. Shout out to the comments section really quick, the chat box. We got to think of a better name for that. Jeff Jag is there. Cats Fanatic, Nox Darkness, Dan Watson saying AVAX Shrap, and COQ. I'll check that out. That's part of what we're doing today, checking out the Avalanche ecosystem. DP, what's good? Christian Jensen says GM, big GM to you, sir. Peter Koo, OVOT, Inside NFTs. Man, you guys are absolutely blowing up the spot today. Squash Man, and I'm sure there's a couple others that I need to hit. Marty and Easy as well. So that rounds out the kind of early chat box that's pretty lit right now. GIF, let's hit the disclaimer and get off and rolling.
Yes. The old disclaimer. The one and only law of Web3. Because primarily it is a lawless world out here where anything and everything will and can happen. But there is one law that we must insist that you abide by. And that is, of course, thou shalt not speckle. And what does that mean? It means this isn't financial advice. We're not financial advisors, regardless of anything that anybody would say and tell you otherwise. We just are simply not. You should not come here for financial advice. We're just talking about random things on the internet that we think is cool. It's all public information, public domain. Always do your own research and just remember, thou shalt not speckle. Thank you.
All right, I'm trying to find the breaking news piece because let's just get into some of these pieces here. Huda was posting about this, and I might be able to just pull it up via his profile. DeGods. What a journey this fucking collection has been on. They seem to have had a really good event, by the way. The DeGods, I forgot what they called it. D House,
D Miami,
D Basel. It seemed to have gone off without a hitch. Like they were coming off some pretty negative sentiment, and now we get this. They are apparently having some kind of back and forth with the Exiled DeGods. So essentially the DeGods, I believe, were left on Solana that didn't bridge. You can see here breaking from DGen News. Frank DeGods agrees that it makes sense for holders to have the option to bridge their NFTs back to Solana via a two-way bridge. So we thought this was all done. We thought, hey, look, you threw down your chips. It's all out there. You're on Ethereum now. Just go forward. No, Frank now is saying, no, we could potentially get some DeGods back onto Solana.
Somebody roll back the tape where I said DeGods go back to Solana. Somebody find it. It's out there. I know it's out there.
Is part of their strategy just to keep people talking about them? Like, is that Frank's deal?
Undoubtedly.
And at some point, does that wear thin, and do people actually get annoyed?
That is the question.
No, but that's actually like what you just said, Huda, is the entire arc that they've been on. There was a time during the bull market when hype was above all the only strategy that really mattered and turned the needle. And Frank was a master at it. Frank rose to prominence as the hype king, the guy who could get everybody spinning and excited about, holy shit, they're going to change the game. The vibes are so high. And what ended up happening is in the bear market, he kept going with that hype strategy and not delivering enough substance or, over promising, etc. And then it turned against him. And so they've been trying to figure out their way out of that. That's been the story of DeGods primarily. If I was going to sum it up, was they rose to prominence on the hype train and they died by the same sword when it stopped working. And so now they're trying to figure out how to keep it going. But Frank's ability to constantly keep DeGods in the conversation, front of mind, own a large share of the conversation is absolutely one of the strongest things about the entire collection, why it's become one of the biggest NFTs.
Here's a message from the Exiled Gods team now. I guess there's a team that's going to head this up. The announcement says, we've spoken with DeGods team. The Exiled DeGods collection will never be touched by them to keep the historic value intact. We both agreed they shouldn't collect royalties, so instead they will be used for bonk and dust LP provisions. So there was another report as well. So now Exiled DeGods over there on Solana are actually getting a bid. So now those are pumping based on the fact that they're not going to be associated with the original DeGods team. This is just a wild story, man.
I like Frank embracing them, like I do, and them as existing as their own separate thing. In a way, it's like him embracing the Bitcoin collection too, which I don't remember if those are were done by the team or if that was holders on their own bridging them over. But
no, that was them.
That was the team.
Yeah, the Bitcoin DeGods or whatever, they put like 500 over there, and that was fully them. That was the team.
I like in general just embracing the more that you can. I mean, it's a good winning strategy, but I don't know. Yeah, again, I just think this strategy at some point backfires until he delivers.
It's confusing, man. It's super confusing. Like, and I can't help but think like, what's it gonna be like? Like, if you're in the market for DeGods, I guess maybe there's gonna be some arbitrage opportunities there. Like, should I buy it on Solana? On Ethereum, Bitcoin, like where are they underpriced? I don't know, man. Like I agree with you, Huda. Like you should embrace your own, but at this point, you're just making things way too confusing.
And I'll say this too. Yeah, it gets confusing. I also think the Exiled DeGods is strange because there's nothing historic about them. Like DeGods are in no way, shape, or form a historic collection, and I don't know that they ever will be. I think it's really strange to even talk about them like that. They're just not. They're just not.
I love Quantum Variant bringing in Imagine CryptoPunk validating V1s as well. But go ahead, Gif.
The question of like, are they historic is interesting. And I think I get where you're coming from, but I'll share the other side of that. And that's that what they did with moving the top Solana collections off of the chain and this crazy caravan across chains actually was remarkable and something that no other collection has done. And so in a way, there is a very interesting multi-chain, cross-chain history to this collection now. And that's how you get to the Exiled gods of the people who decided to leave it and basically gamble and say, I think this is going to be valuable one day. So I think if you're trying to look at them in the context of like other historic NFTs like CryptoPunks, like, no, it doesn't have that kind of provenance. But as far as like the meaning to Solana as an NFT ecosystem, and then this like omni-chain moving about the story that's created and all the different touch points and interesting parts along the way, and then maybe coming full circle and Solana's full arc being tied into that somehow, like I do think there's something interesting there, especially again to Solana maxis, to the people from that ecosystem who don't care nearly as much about Ethereum history.
Well, you changed my mind that quick, and then I can picture a scenario where the Solana ones, the Exiled ones, can become more valuable than the main DeGods collection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
purebred.
Dude. We were yeah. Go ahead.
Damn, I want one.
I think like like this. I've always been bullish on interchain travel for NFTs. I think there's something there to be done, whether it's just doing like some community outreach and involving other protocols, other communities and other protocols into your ecosystem is smart, and somebody will be able to do it correctly. Having said that, I think that it's very clear that in DeGods, in the story of the DeGods, it's their migrations have been because shit hasn't worked out, because they've been failure attempts. There's no community gathering around them or actually uplifting them, saying like, yeah, whether it was in ETH or in Polygon.
I think that's just Polygon.
Coming back to Sol with your kind of tail between your legs, kind of, when Mad Labs is like up here, that's a really terrible situation.
Frank's got no stones, man.
It's bad. It's not. I don't know, man. I don't see it being embraced as a success, or it's like a great experiment. I think it's been a great experiment to see that like technically it can be done. You can migrate a collection from one chain to another and keep that collection intact. But when it comes to like your project and your protocol, you should have a home base, right? Like, I don't know, like where are these dust tokens being staked now? And like, where am I supposed to participate in whatever something else is? Is it on Ethereum? Is it on Polygon? Is it on fucking Solana? It's confusing. And at the same time, again, I think that those bridges have been all in all pretty unsuccessful when they could have leveraged it. And if you would have actually brought along people from these different ecosystems all the way back, you could call it a success. This feels like, man, like an ostrich wanted to put its head
You
back
also know that Frank would 100%, if he could wave a magic wand, have never left Solana. Knowing what he knows now about the ecosystem, I guarantee that he would not have left. Dude, there's no way you can tell me that he didn't just leave at the bottom and he was trying to. Maybe it was for survival, and that's the only part I go back to. He received that Polygon grant for Utes. Maybe they needed it to extend some runway. Otherwise, there's no way he wouldn't want to be the number one on Solana. That's the chain that they were birthed on.
I think there's a good argument for that. I just also think that, I don't know, man, their path has turned them into a little bit of a clown show, but also it's the biggest clown show that nobody can stop talking about. You know what I mean? So it's just like to say that we just sit there and then we continue to be the biggest and best. You have to, they would have had to have done a lot of things to survive that bear market either way to get to where they are. And so it's
well, Clanosaurs
I don't know, man. Yeah.
Okay, Bears did it.
To an extent, but look, I am actually potentially interested in getting an Exiled DeGod. I think it's a very interesting, compelling narrative to me. And I also wanted to call out, there's a couple great comments. Jeff Jag saying migrating from chain to chain is the equivalent of changing the subject of an argument. I think that's a great fucking analogy, because that's been in large parts a band-aid over the fact that they don't know who the fuck they are. They don't know the argument. They don't have a clear vision. And so Frank has been flip-flopping, as Casper's saying. And it is kind of like, okay, let's throw a dart. Let's change over here now. Let's go over here.
You're in the shadow right now of Pudgy Penguin's rocket ship of a fucking success too, where you're seeing how something like, I think that's what was intended originally for DeGods, right? To be a tight-knit community of people just, you know, and I don't see that. I do see it very fragmented these days. So.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next subject here, but yeah, so you know, I kind of want to cap it off though, like predictions on. I mean, what prediction can you make off this? Will Exiled DeGods do well? I don't know. Like, yeah, it seems like they're doing okay.
No. I'll just say this: the more you fragment your community, the more people you can alienate, and that's never good. That's just never good. I don't see anything good coming of this.
To that point, though, maybe making this fresh cut with Exiled DeGods, where there was a gray area, Huda, maybe that's a good thing for the sentiment. They were kind of still pseudo attached to the community. Now there can be that clean cut. Yeah. All right. We're gonna move on, guys. And Huda, I'm gonna go into one of the topics that you just shared, because I like upsetting Gift Dead. What's going on here?
Yeah. I was kind of shocked to see this, but Trump is putting out another NFT collection. It's actually out right now. This is the
shocked that he's gonna try and money grab and he's shameless.
Yeah, you're probably a bad choice of words. Not shocked. I still have some of those V2, you know, the second set, and that's a bummer because those, you know, the value is just going to go to, yeah, they're worthless now. But I do think it's interesting that you can get a piece of his suit, because that suit is a piece of history in my opinion. Like $4,700 gets you a piece of his suit from his mugshot. That's pretty interesting.
That's actually we shit on this, but this is actual utility.
It's brilliant.
Oh yeah,
I'll say this. It's brilliant.
You get like a piece of it with like Whopper on it, like, you know, Whopper grease,
just
on
some
it.
sauce.
Yep.
Jesus.
His team is doing it all right. They really know how to do, I don't know, like the pure collectability and the like. They're really smart with how they're doing it. Yes.
Hoodwink to their fucking followers. Yeah, they're fucking masters at it.
I hate to say it, man. Like, this space is really, really like the way that it operates right now is great for con artists and scammers, and he's the GOAT. He's the fucking goat. Like he knows a good scam and a good opportunity to rinse people for money.
I will say if all of this comes to pass, and he definitely had the Mar-a-Lago event, like we saw photos, they definitely had the gala. He's probably in the 5% of NFT projects that actually delivered some actual utility to a collection.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's not a scam. It is a grift, but it's not a scam. So
yeah,
it's a fucking grift.
All right,
sure.
we are big fans of trailers here. And we're gonna watch Oh Baby Games with the surprise announcement. I like Kaggy's take. Oh no, it actually was it Kaggy? Yes, it was definitely Kaggy saying like the more we get into the bull market, the more you're gonna see shit like this. I'm interested because Oh Baby Games is saying they've partnered up with Spongebob on Oh Baby Cart. So good luck. All right, look, if your first intention here is to FUD Oh Baby Cart and SpongeBob partnership, I understand where you're coming from. But honestly, a PvP like Mario Kart type game, I would love to play. Like if we can get 12 of us in there playing a PvP Mario Kart game, it's probably the most fun we'll have in gaming right now in Web3.
I'm almost like curious if Nintendo doesn't come after them for this, because it's so clearly a Mario Kart sort of ripoff, and Nintendo is like historically, it's like Nintendo and Disney are the two most litigious brands in the world that you never want to fuck with their IP. So I'm curious about that, just to see if they actually do face any scrutiny from Nintendo over that. Mario Kart, yeah, it's one of the most popular games in the world, but it reminds me of Recur. To me, a top signal is absolutely when you start to get like Recur style stuff entering back into the space. When you're getting these like licensed, awful, shitty, like big IP licensed NFT drops and products starting to come out, just fucking watch out, right? Because at that point, you know that there's a bunch of fucking grifters that are all, dude, Recur, again, I don't think enough people talk about the fact that Recur took down like $74 million, never delivered anything, and just bounced. That's a fucking wild situation that not enough people are talking about.
Along these lines, and I'm basically, I didn't want to dive down a rabbit hole. I thought it was just kind of a funny story there. We'll see what comes of it. But Jonah's kind of on the same thing apparently with Immortal Game, because they put out a message in their Discord that's essentially saying we're going back to Web 2. They raised $15 million on the idea that they would be creating Web 3 enabled games, right?
So did Neopets. Neopets raised like $4 or $5 million off of the back of Web 3 and then didn't deliver anything and said we're going back to Web 2. This is pure extraction.
Yeah. And that's something to be worried about, and I think we should be a little bit louder in kind of coming out against those things. I think on the PFP side, or the more like non-gaming side, Game of Thrones is the #1 example that we saw in 2023. Like, I think that might, I don't know if there is another one that comes to mind. Kane Mayfield was getting after alts by Adidas today, and I think it was a little unwarranted. Like, there's a spectrum of grift, or a spectrum of extraction. I think alts by Adidas has done more to get NFTs out into the world in front of people than a lot of other collections have, especially people that are just like grassroots in the space. Everybody has their own kind of thing to bring to this industry. Alts by Adidas is Adidas. And I think there's a spectrum. Like, you want to point the fucking target at somebody, point it at Game of Thrones drops, point it at the Matrix drop on Nifties. There's a couple others that you could point to. Adidas isn't one of them.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I'd almost forgot about it. It was kind of, I thought it was a little strange that he went specifically at Adidas. And I'm curious, like, why that's the one that rubbed him wrong, because they've continued to show up and build in the space, and I think are actually trying to create a more long-term product and community. Whether or not they're also extractive and, you know, to a degree, and beholden to shareholders and whatever, which they are, there is that aspect. But I think because they've showed up and consistently tried to put out projects and build an ecosystem, there's also a lot of people that have probably actually done okay. Like, people have probably made some money on that project, and it wasn't just pure fucking like, hey, give us all your money and we're bouncing.
Yeah, it was an odd one, but I got his point, right? We want to support the organic and people building within this space as well. All right, while we're on this gaming kick, Kagiyan, I'm sorry for throwing the FUD out to you guys in this portion of the episode, but Breaking Gods Unchained kicked out of Epic Games. Apparently, they got the adults only tag here for the play to earn elements within the game. So Gods Unchained, I mean, we talk about Parallel all the time, and Gods Unchained was really the precursor to that project. They showed that you could do trading cards within the Web3 and blockchain environment. So any thoughts here on Epic Games kicking them out?
So Kat's actually quickly changed my mind on this, where I initially said it's awful, right? It sucks. We need to then build our own platforms. What I didn't realize, like, in my head, I was thinking it was the Steam Storm, which already has like porn games. So it was shocking to me that they would get removed. Difference is, Epic Game Store, I don't think, has any games that have that mature rating on it. I could be wrong. Like, I have to look. It's just in my head. I think that's the difference. So with that said, I'm okay with, you know, the 18 plus mature rating being slapped on play to earn crypto games. I wish it wasn't there, but I think that's fine. And if that's, you know, Epic Games' line that you can't have that rating, I think it's fine.
Any thoughts? I agree with Huda on that, and I think that either like this is going to have to be enforced this way, or there's going to be stronger regulations coming down from above to protect minors. Like, that'll just be another thing that Elizabeth Warren adds to her litany of, like, you know, things and reasons to hate on crypto, right? We can't have a bunch of kids gambling with crypto in these games. That's going to be the next thing that they come after us for, right?
But at the same time, still, there's Fortnite that these kids are playing, and you can buy Robux there, and you know what I mean? Like, it is weird. It is a double standard. It's the play to earn specifically that they got them on, but yeah.
This is why Rocket League will never go. By the way, this is why Rocket League will not go. Don't
they have to sign some type of terms and agreement that says, "Hey, I'm older than 18 before I play this"? Like, isn't there terms and guidelines they can use to fight that?
Everybody just checks that, though. We know.
Well,
people...
but then they're not liable. You know, like that they literally signed it. All right, last gaming project that I had on my list here, and I'm gonna keep it short because we freaking chill them what feels like every day, rightfully so. The dudes at Parallel are getting after it. This is the biggest story for Parallel in a while. Planetfall packs, which are up actually. If you look at the Planetfall pack sale that they had early in November, which I took part in, I think they were about 0.18 for like the really large collector's boxes, and then 0.018 for the 10 card packs. Those are up to like 0.23 and 0.023 respectively. So Planetfall packs are opening, but the reason this is a big story is because up to this point, the cards you've been playing with are in their quote unquote season 1, right? I'm using that as an example. This Planetfall drop is their season 2. So they're dropping hundreds of new cards in the ecosystem. I'm super interested in what that does to the meta because they've only dripped out one card every couple weeks to talk with their battle pass system. Planetfall tomorrow, they're dropping hundreds of cards at one time. So it could potentially break all types of metas here that are within the game.
These are NFT cards, by the way. It's not like a physical pack drop.
NFT cards all the way. So you see the NFT cards now, those came from those original collector's packs that launched back in the day.
That's cool. Man, I bought a pack once. I have no idea what wallet it's in, and I can't find them anywhere. Got to go dive in.
All right, I'm going to share just a little bit more on Parallel. They released this trailer overnight as well, along with Planetfall. Only reason go ahead, Biggie.
No, I like it.
I like it, but I don't like that it highlighted a shroud. I'm not a big fan of shroud. Oh, the last thing I'll say on Prime, it touched 950 overnight, $9.50. People that have the NFT, the full NFT ducks, we're making an okay amount. I mean, I've seen up to like 2.5 Prime per win for the top level players. I'm getting about, for context, you can only win 5 games earning you Prime. I'm getting about 0.7 per day based on those numbers. So it probably can be ticked a little bit, but that's around what I'm getting. And then lastly, they dropped this. We wouldn't want to let the holidays pass without doing something special for the community. We're making a list, checking it twice, going to find out who's naughty or nice. And they gave some screenshots of these items.
Love it.
So naughty gets coal. Interesting. I guess these are airdrops or something. I don't know. It's moments like these where you see that, like, the super high quality, awesome cinematics of an actually like really deep world that you like are starting to love, right? Like seeing Shroud coming to life and knowing, how deep these parallels, the different factions within parallel goes, and then you see like the Pudgy verse. We were just watching that video, is super high quality, seeing that IP come to life. It's just moments like these where I take that step back and I'm like, holy shit, man. It was just like 3 years ago that this was all just a fucking pipe dream. And we're like, what if you could start your own Disney or an IP and you could own part of that thing? And now you fucking see some people actually doing it, man. It's just cool. This shit gets me hyped. Like, that shit's awesome.
Yeah, excited for what's to come with Parallel. We'll see the Parallel Planet Fall release tomorrow. That should make some waves online. All right, let's transition to the biggest story of the day. First of all, you guys have been fucking fantastic over here in the chat box. We've been highlighting your comments on the stream here, but Joel Ditper said exactly just like Steam dollars on the Steam platform, talking about the conversation around Epic Games. DP is saying the constant tug of war of Web3 games being banned and unbanned will continue until the audience is big enough for a ban to be consequential. A lot of other great comments. If you guys see any, please highlight them and throw them out here, and we can verbalize them up here. All right.
I liked Kevin.
What was it?
Kevin saying, I remember when people said Recur would kill VV. VV, however, is still around, announcing a bunch of brand partnerships along through the bear cycle. Just added Lamborghini and Funko, apparently.
Ooh, Funko.
Okay.
All right. I feel like Vive and Wax are like competitors with each other, but that might just be me sticking my foot in my mouth. All right. The biggest combo that I wanted to get onto the stream today was going to be around not just Avalanche, but definitely these layer 2s and these other competitors. People are looking for the next narrative, looking for the next Jito airdrop. So, conversations around Avalanche, conversations about Arbitrum, Optimism, Polygon, Base. These are picking up steam more so than they ever have. So that's the combo I want to have here. Huda, I know you're following a lot of these different chains over there on CryptoSlam as well. So if you got anything to kick us off with, please let me know. Otherwise, there's also this story that I wanted to get into with Pegaxy. Did you have anything, Huda, that you wanted to kind of launch us off on from a statistical side on these chains?
Only no, because I only half heard your question.
Okay.
Sorry.
Talking all chains, CryptoSlam has done a great job from the beginning of tracking all of the on-chain analytics from different protocols. Well, a lot of different platforms only do ETH, only do, 1 or 2 chains. Anything from the analytical side that on this kind of run up that we've seen with Avalanche and Solana and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. It's a good question. And in general, it's a really obvious answer. It is really the season of L2s and alt chains. And I really think Solana last weekend dethroning ETH, even though it wasn't the first time that's happened, I think that really woke people up. Let them see that there is a lot of potential, that ETH is going to probably struggle to compete at times. And so, yeah, I do think it's the season for Arbitrum and for Avalanche and all of these guys, all of them. I'm really bullish on all these L2s and other chains, like very, very bullish.
And we're taking a look here at the 24-hour NFT volume. Again, we had the BRC20 debate a while, but you can see Bitcoin is overtaking a lot of Ethereum's volume. Solana with Tensorians, DeGods NFTs, that's the Exiled DeGods we just talked about. So yeah, not a lot of Ethereum up there in the top 10. So guys, any
very
thoughts?
different, doesn't it?
It does.
It doesn't pay to be a maxi. I think it's just you need to let that shit go. And there's unfortunately a lot of people that are back biased because that's all they know and that's all they hold. But I think this is again just a reminder that this is a very early tech days of, you know, something that is evolving at such a rapid pace. And I think that if you speak with a lot of these founders and like high level devs, whether it's Andre Cronje or I forget right now, Solana's founder as well, like you speak to them, yeah, Anatoly, and you speak to them and like they are not bullish on ETH at all. You know, they and it's not because they're trying to FUD your fucking bags, okay? So don't take it personally. It's because they see holes, gaps in the fucking technology that they can exploit, that they think they can do a better job with, you know? And that's the reason you have somebody like, you know, like something like Blast, like launching right now, right? As well. I think it definitely pays to pay attention and to go beyond just what you're seeing right now. And that's why I think you're seeing people look at AVAX now, right? Which is an obvious contender. But beyond that, I think there is a whole lot more. I think you're going to see Near be a contender with its EVM chain, Aurora. Mark that one down. Sonic from Phantom is also going to be a contender. And many more. Like I saw Algorand is supposedly building like some really cool stuff too. So it pays to be early and to just tinker, even if it's just a little with a couple of bucks, whether you're looking for the airdrop or just to see that, you know, there is tech being developed out there that competes with Solana, with AVAX, and sure as fuck with Ethereum too, you know?
Yeah. I'll say this. I think the most interesting thing of all is you still can't go wrong just holding ETH with all these other chains being, you know, these compartmentalized blockchains that are plugged into ETH. I mean, ETH is kind of still the alpha. It's wild.
Yeah, BTC and ETH, I think, are like the two, right? That it's just like if somebody new comes into your life and says, "Hey, I want to invest. I don't have time to look at it. I don't want to risk too much. It's already crypto." BTC and ETH, and go sleep. You know, you'll be fine. You'll be served well.
Yeah, I'm looking to get as many folks in here as possible for this combo, so I'm sharing out more on socials. If you guys could hit that on X, it would be very much appreciated. I'll send over the link there in chat. I'll pull up also the CoinGecko chart here, which shows that this narrative has some legs, right? We have different chains. Cosmos is one that's been thrown around as well. You can see that's one of the biggest winners on the day, Cosmos and Cosmos Hub. Celestia that you mentioned. Beam, I believe, is a protocol play as well. Injective. I mean, look at all of the top. I mean, dude, we're just in that meta right now. We're very much squarely in that.
What's crazy to me is like the way that the waterfall cascade works is that, you know, you get Bitcoin and ETH pumping, and then you usually start to see the altcoins and shitcoins really pick up. This seems like a tremendous amount of like volume and interest in the altcoins already, and we haven't even really seen Bitcoin and ETH
because there's real things now. Like people are basing their thought process on when there wasn't any product. There's a ton of product that actually has infrastructure to it.
Also, who was it? Yeah, Joel over here asking about thoughts on Copa versus Craig Wright. I'm over here trying to look into this. I'm not familiar with it, but apparently there's an identity concern around Craig Wright being Satoshi maybe, and some claims on Bitcoin Core.
Here we go.
Yeah,
run it back, baby.
I don't know.
Every fucking cycle we got to deal with Craig Wright as Satoshi.
Oh, okay. So this is all. Yeah, I'm not familiar with this. Apparently this is a thing.
Yeah, no comment.
Yeah, fuck this.
I'm done with Craig Wright.
All right. Okay, so here's a chain that's not doing well from a sentiment perspective. Although Biggie, I was on a couple spaces this morning where we had, so I was on the Daily Alpha this morning, and they were talking positively about Polygon. There's a lot of things coming up with their ZK tech and a lot of different stuff there. I will say from a very high level and a sentiment perspective, it looks bad for Polygon right now. We've gotten multiple collections now that have said, screw this, we're leaving. I would almost even implore the Avagachi guys, unless the infrastructure is too tough to move over to like Ron or move over to one of these other chains, because Polygon clearly has lost that community feel, if it ever really, had it. I think that's one of the reasons you didn't do that well. But you can see Pegaxy Game Studio leaves Polygon for the Avalanche subnet. So that's a big story. Pegaxy's been around for a minute here, and they're looking to kind of see if they can change their fortunes around over there on Avalanche.
Every time that one of these headlines breaks of someone else leaving, it adds more FUD, right? It looks bad. It adds to that negative sentiment that they're failing, right? So yeah, the fact that we've seen several big exits now moving elsewhere, it does look bad. And I think it's interesting, right? Because I think other people are pointing to like, hey, but look at all the other cool things that they're doing, but they clearly can't support a lot of the things that are there. And this is, again, I think, an argument for specializing. You cannot you can't be everything to everyone all the time. So like if you can't support these collectors, these creators, these projects, then they're going to leave. And then that creates negative headlines. So like, I don't know, man, I just really, I wish Polygon would have solidified its own sort of like brand around a more cohesive, like what's the product exactly that we're specialized in? I don't know.
I think the reason they're leaving too is just the performance of the chain itself. I was literally, you brought up Avagachi, and I was in the app recently just trying to claim some ghost that I won from the last snapshot and stuff, and it wasn't good. It took a while to confirm, and I think, yeah, it's very clear. Like, again, speaking about tinkering and trying other chains and stuff, it's just like, it's very apparent. Just be a user, go do a transaction, see how fast it goes through, right? Like, see how well it performs. And I think, I do think though that the MATIC folks there are aware of this issue, and they've been trying to address it for some time. Hence the partnership with IMX and all of that to launch their ZK infrastructure. And so I'm not counting them out yet. And when I hear other people kind of like making plays there, granted, it's more project focused. I don't know. I think there could be a good risk reward there. I'm not suggesting anybody go and buy MATIC or necessarily go into another project there. I'm just saying, like, I've seen this happen before with other chains. Like you look at Phantom, for example, right now. It's nowhere in the conversation yet. Like, if you go check out Andre Cronja's recent post, like I think he just showed like ridiculous like finality and transactions per second, and Sonic is about to be released sometime like early next year, and these guys have a massive war chest, and they're like not fucking around. Like, they're trying to compete with Solana and AVAX and everybody else, and it could quickly turn the boat around and end up being something that you might be interested in or happy to have jumped over there and performed a couple of transactions. Just saying, NFA, DYOR. But yeah,
it's a tough conversation that we're having right now, because essentially you have a limited amount of time, obviously a limited amount of liquidity and resources, unless you're fucking Machi, and you have to decide, where do I think a lot of this liquidity, a lot of this interest is going? And so all of us kind of have been dabbling on different chains. Let's jump into Avalanche. It looks like Henry Arena, if you could drop us any more info on Yeet or COQ, I'm not going to say that out loud, Shrap as well. We've been talking about Shrap. Shrap's going to 100% get a bid in all of this. We've already seen that, in my opinion, like Shrap being the #1 game on Avalanche. Avalanche's play seems to be gaming, DeFi, and that's where the infrastructure is being played.
And one of the like really attractive things about Avalanche, from what I understand, it's very much like optimistic rollups, and where like the portability, the migration is pretty seamless. Like, you don't have to tweak a lot of the code as you would if you're going over to a ZK rollup, right? Which offers more security, but the problem is like that portability. It's going to take a while to be able to do it. And so that's maybe also why you're seeing all these, projects that had launched on Polygon be like, no, man, I'm just going to go to AVAX. It's really easy to port over there. and continue on my merry way while you figure out the ZK stuff. Because apparently it's going to be a fucking clusterfuck to be able to port my app or whatever there over. So that's something to consider.
So part of the struggle with Polygon is just that the user experience is bad, and so nobody uses it. And you even just shared anecdotally your own experience with AVAX claiming your ghost. It was a bad experience, and so what this ends up creating is situations where people just don't want to use it very much. And when Q's saying like, when you have limited resources and you're trying to decide like how do you make up these decisions, one of the things that I think has proven to be pretty good wisdom and sort of like a rule of thumb for retail investors is to invest in the things that you use every day. And so for me, what that looks like in this space is like, I use Avalanche now quite a bit. Like I love 0-1. I love that marketplace. I'm now trading Shrap on Trader Joe's. It's a good, fast experience. So I'm over there using it almost every day. Pretty good experience. I'm using Solana every day now. I'm doing like high frequency trading using Jupe. I've used Radium a whole ton. I'm using Magic Eden. I'm using all these different dApps on Solana. I use it almost every day. I'm transacting over there. Ethereum, I use Ethereum every single fucking day. So where the rubber meets the road is like, is it a good experience? Are you using it every day? Then those are probably going to be pretty solid bets, because that is good research. That is a research data point. If your user experience is good, you use this every day, a lot of other people probably have similar experiences to that. So that's just one thing that, at least for me, that I'm looking at is like, I am definitely going to be more levered up on the things that I use every day that are great experiences.
I want to bring in another conversation here. And guys, if you have any info, again, as these chains proliferate, and they already have, again, we can't singularly be tracking everything. You almost need a friend that is an expert at these specific chains and can go deep down the rabbit hole. And I've been going a little bit deep down the rabbit hole ever since that Hunter Solaire tweet talking about, look, Solana's fucking popping off. There's going to be opportunities there. And I agree with him that there's going to be opportunities on Solana consistently. Blast is another one because of the amount of liquidity over there. But I've been looking at Base more and more, and I've got a couple updates for you guys. It looks like they did have their GTO moment. I was just a little bit late kind of coming to the party. Seamless is already listed on Coinbase, by the way. This is an Aave fork that launched yesterday. You can see here, someone who supplied $1 getting about 22 seam, and it looks like it's $13 per seam right now. So it looks like they already had their GTO moment. Will there be more? We will see. I'll update you on a couple different things now. There were 1717 Oviators sold. These are over. They basically, you can't call them oversubscribed because it was open, but now you see the secondary way over mint price, or at least over mint price. And then the last thing, and it's more of an infrastructure play, gift that it might interest you. Coinbase is interested in bringing TradFi onto Base Protocol. And I don't know if that's essentially the most bullish thing that I've heard, because all of this is very degen retail heavy. But it's was an interesting story to me that they would come out and say, look, we want on a basically a base. I don't think they'll probably have it be a private. I'm getting lost in the details here, but like a private chain on Base for TradFi. Yeah. That's the first I'm seeing. And again, it puts that TradFi, but it puts that narrative home that Base is going to be supported by Coinbase going forward.
Yeah, and this makes total sense. Again, when it launched, we were making the case that like why it's going to have a place is because it actually has more centralization and controls to it, which is going to be more accessible and interesting to a lot of other Web 2, Web 2.5 players. And so they create a layer 2 that onboards a lot of those people. So TradFi, Wall Street, all these different people that are now getting interested. By the way, BlackRock's ETF is now courting Wall Street banks. So they have to go somewhere, and they're going to want to go places where they still have some control. They're not going to go full Web3. They're not going to go full fucking degen. So Brian Armstrong's up there shaking hands, kissing babies in Washington and making all these big relationships. So yeah, why do you think Coinbase stock is fucking through the moon right now? Why do you think Prof G, you know, I love Professor Galloway, but that dude has been fudding crypto all fucking year. If you go watch his most recent podcast on YouTube, it is just egg on the face. He lost his ass betting against Coinbase.
That's his life.
He did a bunch of fucking, he shorted the shit out of Coinbase stock all year because he's been saying crypto's a fucking rug, or he's been saying crypto's all just scams, following the Elizabeth Warren wisdom. And now he's fucking losing a ton of money because he's been betting against it. And now him and his little analyst are sitting up there going, why is Bitcoin up all of a sudden? I thought this was a scam. Why do you think Bitcoin and crypto assets are like the top asset of the year? I don't understand what's going on. I thought it was all a scam. It's fucking hilarious. But anyway, I digress. The point is that Wall Street has to come in somehow. The ETFs are going to provide some of that. Coinbase is setting themselves up to be the fucking biggest crypto marketplace. It's already the biggest in the US, but moving forward to be maybe one of the biggest companies in the US or in the world, because they are the future of fucking finance.
Yeah. First of all, I want to talk to Jesse Pollock because he should be sponsoring that post there by Gifted on base. Anyways, I'm going to try to have him on the channel. He's over there heading up the building on base. So yeah, let's talk about that.
Can I add one thing?
Keep it short.
One last note to that. This is why I would also be very surprised if at some point in the future there isn't a base token. Like right now, I think they're playing nice and saying, oh, we don't want to do that. But if this is going to be a legitimate layer 2, that's one of the biggest layer 2s for everybody, why wouldn't at some point when regulation and things seem more in the clear, why wouldn't there be a base token?
Feels like Jesse's listening to the show here. He just posted a minute ago. So excited to see Coinbase bringing more of its business on chain, this time an institutional platform for issuing on-chain native financial instruments in a regulated, compliant way. Slowly, then suddenly. I don't know how to feel about this because I don't know what the implications are for the chain from a degen level that they're trying to bring regulatory compliant people onto on base. That I don't know. I'm that's a toss up for me. That's a coin flip. Guys, let's transition this back though to Avalanche and a couple of these other winners. I do see FoQ talking about eggs. Again, we did see Yeet here as well. I don't know if those are just straight up meme coins, but anything. Yeah. Is there like any infrastructure that we can kind of get out there that you guys have experienced being on Avalanche right now? You mentioned Trader Joe's. I think, this is not financial advice, but getting invested in QuickSwap in 2020 did well for me. QuickSwap was essentially the native DEX to Polygon at the time, extremely well. So I don't think getting exposure to like a major infrastructure like a Trader Joe's on Avalanche is a bad call by any means.
I think another meta you're going to see come back from the dead again is these launch protocols in different chains, right? Like BNB launch, Avalanche. There's one for Avalanche that basically they're like incubators or token generation events where if you hold a token and you stake it, you have participation in whatever technology or what they're launching in that chain. They were very successful in this last bull market. I think you'll see it again. I would just caution everybody there. Like if you don't hold a token by now for some of those launch protocols, then you might be a little too late. Maybe like some of the like more fringe chains, you'll be able to get enough and also like inform yourself how many of those tokens you need to have and whether you need to stake them in order to get participation or allocation to those. But they did fantastic last cycle. And I will say also that like most of them are not what I would call high conviction plays. In other words, at least like, the minute you get those tokens, like take some profits and ride the rest or but anyways, keep an eye out for that. I think you will see a lot of these launch platforms like start announcing all kinds of nonsense, but they're going to do well. You'll hear a lot of people make money off of them too.
Speaking of nonsense, and Huda and Gifted jump in whenever. Bear is one of the tokens over here on Avalanche, and I was explaining to Gifted this morning that Toshi over on base is named after Brian Armstrong's cat. And so Bear,
This is hilarious.
This
This cracks
by the
me
way,
up.
Toshi's the most popular coin on Base. Like I can even switch over to Base here, show you guys. Toshi is one of it is the hottest pair over there on Base. Yeah,
This cracks me up.
And then you go over to Avalanche, and Bear is one of the hotter pairs on Avalanche. And oh, by the way, that is, I believe, the dog's name of the founder over there on Avalanche. So some mini little degen alpha for you. If you're on another chain, just get ready and figure out the name of the founder's
the goldfish, whatever the fuck.
This cracks me up so much.
Yeah,
I don't know how people keep up with all that stuff. What is that platform you were just on, by the way?
So this, this is Dex Tools, one of the better platforms for just like looking at altcoins and everything. They actually have a token as well that I've been holding for goddamn years at this point. Back in DeFi summer, didn't even know I still had it. Okay, so Bear Eggs was just mentioned. I wonder why it's up 70,000% today. Rocket.
What the fuck is
Eggs
that?
is from that am I thinking right? Is that from a Waves game?
I wouldn't know.
We need an Avalanche maxi up here.
Hey, fuck you. Fuck you. By the way, great name. Fuck you over here. You need to let us know how you found out about eggs early. Let us know why you are on the egg train.
Like I like waffles and fucking omelets, I guess, or something.
So we have Bear. This is basically DeFi summer all over again. You have Bear, which is a dog. You have COQ, which is a chicken. You have Rocket. I don't know what Rocket looks like here. Let's see.
Huda, but when you see this, you track
Rocket.
this a lot. Like we're so early, like we're not even in the halving yet. And we're already, like you said, and I get it. Like there is a lot more product out there, and I think Solana with JIT definitely fucking kicked off the FOMO and the speculation for this. But if this is December 2023, with the halvings, like I think predicted for like April, how are we gonna? What's this bull do you feel is gonna look like, man?
I don't think we've seen parabolic yet, even with last year and the year before. I don't think we've seen it like nowhere close. Like still, because we know the base of users is so small. But even like all of us are years deep into NFTs and crypto trading, and the platforms still feel young. The ecosystem still feel young, like they're just getting started. And at the point where you feel like any of them could still disappear, and it'd be shocking, but also you'd be like, yeah, I get it. Man, we're so early, and the opportunities are going to be so plentiful, man. I can't even picture what that real mass adoption event's going to look like.
More information here. Gif, I want you to hop in here, but more information. So I'm searching essentially by score on Dex Tools, which it's looking at different audits, and it's looking at the contracts and the health, right? And again, take this for what it is. It's Dex Tools. Yeah. You can see like Shrapnel is one that we've talked about for a while. Pegaxy's actually already trading. That's interesting to me. So 9 days ago, the contract was created, or at least ported, or whatever details you want to get there. But Pegaxy's already being traded, so you can see that story we covered. Yeti is in here. No other ticker really stands out to me on Avalanche here. PNG, HON, and Slime, which I'm assuming, I'm going to click into these, they're probably DeFi related. Go ahead.
Slime, I think, is like an aggregator of meme coins. So whatever that means.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay. I think this next summer is going to be absolutely fucking bonkers. Because the halving will have happened. We'll probably have the ETFs at that point proven out. Like, when the ETF approvals happen, it's not going to be like all of a sudden like everybody rushes in. You'll probably see some like initial people move quick, but it's going to be like a slow upward. Like, they're going to start to just reallocate. More people are going to start to reallocate more of their portfolio in percentages, right? And then they average in when they want to. So it's this slow stair step up from there. But by the time you get into the summer, you'll have already seen that sort of proven out. There will be some early adopters who already moved in. They're like, oh shit, everybody wants this, and it's not just a crazy thing. People are actually buying these ETFs. The halving will have happened. So I think this next summer is going to be like a fucking rocket ship through the holidays, basically. But I think when you get into that like holiday and then the beginning of the next year, that's when it's going to taper off. I think most of 2024 is going to be up. I think that once you get into 2025, and then, you know, I think the real end will be in the summer, but I think I'm going to be looking to like exit beginning of 2025. Like Q1 2025 is what I'm going to say. This is probably too frothy.
I love
We'll
your
be able to take our
perspective,
$10 out.
But you know what? Yeah. Hey, once you get punched in the mouth, things change. But I'm like, for example, obviously Doge, Shiba, Bonk, we've seen these meme coins, prominent meme coins on like these chains like resuscitate, right? Like from the dead. I don't think most of them will. I'm curious like if some of these that have catchy ticker names, you know, that died off won't have a similar moment, you know? Even whether
here's the thing. If you hold on, Biggie, before you break down this narrative, if you're sitting at home being like, what the fuck did Biggie Poppins just say? We are beyond the associate degree level of degen. Now we're getting into that bachelor's degree, more master's level. This man just said, a ticker that looks nice is why you buy it. That's master's level degeneracy right here. So continue down the narrative.
Yeah, man. Like I think, you know, like Pepe, this last Pepe, the one that pumped, the one that's got like $600 million market cap, right? Like it was not the first Pepe ticker. I remember when Pepe launched like earlier this year, and there were a lot of people buying the wrong Pepe, right? And you see this with a lot of different ticker symbols and tokens, right? And obviously there's a lot of us that got burned in the last shitcoin cycle or the one before that, and we have all these dead tokens there. But some of them have these very memeable, attractive ticker names, right? Don't give a fuck, DGAF or whatever. I'm so curious to see if we are gonna see some of these pump again. It'll be crazy. Like this is obviously like, I mean, it's not even hopium. It's just crazy. But this is a crazy space, right? And so I don't know. I'm curious to see if we will see stuff like that, right? Because like AVAX, I remember had like some crazy fucking shitcoins that I still have in my wallet, completely wrecked. And see, it would be crazy to see if they become like some kind of culture badge of honor or what have you, you know? I mean, degens try to pump any narrative, and I will eventually need to take a deep dive into these like old wallets and see what I can come up with to keep an eye on and track, just in case, you know, just I guess a crazy outlier fat finger situation. But I don't know. I'm glad I'm saying it here because I think we will see some stuff like that happen.
Yeah, I want to pull up real quick. So we mentioned that GameFi, and I don't even know if I like the term GameFi yet. Like I know that's what we're calling play to earn gaming now, Web3 gaming. So GameFi and DeFi are what Avalanche is going for. I want to bring this chart up real quick, and then while we have some Avalanche users, this is what we're seeing on the NFT side from DApp Radar. The volume is $4,000, so essentially nothing on the daily here from Dokio. Mambonauts, I think Mambonauts was thrown out in their chat. Woofy, like none of these have any volume. So there's essentially, according to DApp Radar, no NFT collections that of any notability on Avalanche right now.
Yeah, for that peek at Crypto Slam, their data is questionable.
Got it. Giff, you were trying to get something in.
Well, I was just going to say, as far as like master's level degeneracy and, you know, badges of honor, we've got Henry Urena over here providing some alpha saying, be careful with eggs. It's a node project like strong nodes where you burn 10 tokens and you earn a certain amount a day. You know, those are completely unsustainable. Yes, those are Ponzus. I specifically am very personally familiar with the strong nodes because that's one of my early DeFi plays where I lost my ass. So speaking of master's level degeneracy, I see you out there, Henry. You too must be familiar with the strong nodes and stronger token. That was a fucking wash. So yeah, if eggs is like strong nodes or stronger nodes, you either get in right at the beginning and profit off the Ponzi, or you get fucked.
Yeah, I think the 70,000% gain in a single day probably should tick us off to that.
At this point, you probably are too late on that. That's no.
Guys, I have an update on the Trump cards, and I need us to put our collective big brains together and try to understand why this is, Okay. Okay, so this collection is only for true collectors, all right? The collection, all Trump trading cards are non-transferable until December 31st, 2024. You can't sell these for a year. Why do you think that is? What is going on legally or with tax reasons that you can't sell these for a year?
Buy now, sell later. Wow.
I think that there's probably going to be some weird legal concerns around gambling on our elections, and because the election cycle is happening, that like they don't. Here's the thing.
God.
I haven't said this out loud because I haven't said this out loud.
This guy.
Go ahead, Gif.
Look, I haven't said this out loud because it hurts me. It hurts me to say this and to acknowledge. Yeah. No, I mean, he might. But here's the thing. Regardless of what happens, if Trump is going to be part of this election cycle at all, which it looks like he'll probably be part of it, these Trump cards, NFTs, are probably going to fucking move.
Yes.
At some point next year, they're probably going to move. I hate it. I don't want to buy any. And yet it's one of those where I'm like, do I want to be right or do I want to make money?
We got him, folks. I
might end up buying some Trump NFT cards. I have not, and I don't currently plan to, but I'm just saying there's a small percentage chance.
Marty, we got him.
What, to vote yay?
This is wild. No, because Gifted, like you could probably point to literally. First of all, is that Kate Middleton? I saw that in this. He's got looks like Kate Middleton on the damn collect Trump cards. Yeah. I don't even know if I want to play audio here, but Gifted could probably find a receipt of him fading Trump cards, saying, I'm not going to buy them, nothing. And now we finally did. We got him.
They are historic.
It
sounds crazy, but they actually are. They actually are for one of the most controversial figures in world history. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it is kind of crazy. But you know what? That got me thinking real quick. Maybe another reason you can't sell them until then is maybe to actually guarantee a sellout. Maybe they were worried that they wouldn't sell out and what a bad look that is. And so if you can't trade them on secondary, the only place you can get them is from the primary sale. Small reason there.
I want to talk to the flooring protocol or floor protocol, which is now rebranded, because maybe you can't sell them, but maybe you could sell you Trumps. You can sell you Trumps.
That would be interesting.
That's how you get the exit liquidity there. That's the market. So flooring protocol, get it done. We'll see what's up. All right, guys, we're almost done with today's episode. A lot of what we wanted to talk about today was Avalanche. There's some other things happening on Arbitrum. We hit a little bit of Polygon. Let's just continue to have that convo for another 5 minutes of other things to be looking out for on this layer 2 front. I'll also say here a quick shout out to Valeria Games for selling out in 23 seconds. We all kind of called this. Cats Fanatic was the first one to call that these cases were going to sell out. They did so in 23 seconds. It's for essentially the trading card percentage or point of this game where you're going to be able to collect these different characters. Huda, I know you're involved in Valeria as well. Any thoughts here quickly?
Not surprised. They just have so many. Well, okay, I was going to say they have so many whales, but you know, it doesn't take many people that have a lot of money to actually move things and sell it out, and that's kind of what they got over there. Maybe a dozen or so big whales, and they'll sell that collection out in that 30 seconds all on their own. So sometimes it's hard to read into it and know how much of that is real and how much is of that is guys pumping their own bags in a way. But with that said, those collectors love that project. They really love that project.
Well, look, man, they made those millionaires, and they made those whales. Like, that's the coolest thing. When you see in Web3, when a project made the whales that they have in their community, that's when you fucking get fanatical people that will pump your fucking project. That's what Jordan Lyle did with the meme token. He created this meme token. He distributed it for fucking free. They were essentially, the drop was worth like $100,000 like 2 weeks later, and everybody went ape shit. And now you have fucking zealots. So,
yep.
Anyways,
yeah, great point.
All right, we got a Reach announcement too. Here announcing the tokenomics of Reach. So that's big. I know, Gift, that you're in that ecosystem a bunch. I don't want to spend much time on it, but I'll drop it in chat. There. I want to sneak in this quick story before we go back to this Avalanche piece. I don't know what to figure about this, man. I really do not. And I brought this up yesterday. This has 10 ETH worth of 7-day volume for 10 KTF, which was at one point one of the better collections in the entire industry. I mean, random bullshit on this collection list has 200, 100 ETH, all this stuff. We saw that 10 KTF has a trailer coming out on Thursday. They were sneaking out info basically on this collection. I can't figure it out. It has zero volume essentially.
The complexity chasm's too deep and too wide on this one, and I think they are. I think that they are victim to Yuga's scaling too quickly and not being able to support all the different facets of like what they're building. Just like with Legends of the Mara and Heavy Metal Forge, like they weren't that cool. They weren't that well executed, and that's what I worry about with this. And I think most people, again, like, it really did hurt Yuga. Like, it killed a lot of their momentum. And I think that this is suffering from that. And here's what I think. If they can figure out through the storytelling with like the videos and you know, some kind of integrations with other sides starting to bring that conversation back up and showing why these PFPs are fucking awesome, they're going to do incredibly well. And then they are a buy right now. Absolutely. They're probably extremely undervalued. And if you got them now and held on to them, then you're probably going to do really well. But the risk here is that like they don't figure out how to actually get this story told, and they just kind of like do what the heavy metals do and don't really take off.
It's hard for me to place these at point two, but when there's zero freaking volume, it's tough to also get a look. But that's what you want to be doing. Like, we keep preaching this zig while you zag thing. We've said that more here since Solana's popped off. But I mean, this could be something where you look back in 3 weeks and be like, holy shit, they had an announcement about these grailed PFPs queued up. And they're sitting at 0.2 right now, which in the Yuga ecosystem is fucking free. When you look at the rest of the whole entire ecosystem, let alone 10 KTF's background. I don't know. It's either fucking dead or it's going to moon. That's basically how I feel. All right, back to the Avalanche discussion to close us out, guys. And I know, Biggie, you had something there as well on the ZK EVM stuff, the ZK rollups. Let's spend some time on Avalanche to close that out. Any last things we can point to? I think Trader Joe's is one we've mentioned. Great product. We've chilled shrapnel to the high heavens at this point. It looks like Pegaxy is already trading over there. Anything else that sticks out to you guys on Avalanche?
Yeah, the only thing, the one I mentioned, Avalanche, which is, again, like a launch pad, might check it out. I think it's a good place because I do know it's been supported by the ecosystem since its inception. So it might be a good place, even if you don't participate. Like, it's a good place to see what up and coming projects will be launching, you know, and to keep an eye on. That's a good one.
Can you give me a link?
Yeah,
I love 01. That's the one other product. It's like a really cool application over there that's actually for NFT and artists that is great. I just don't know yet their plans to like scale that into a legitimate marketplace. But the experience and like what 01 has done, I think is awesome.
This is over on Avalanche?
Yeah, 01's on Avalanche.
All right,
Pangolin's still alive.
Pangolin. So I was searching by market cap here. Let me pull this back up. A lot of these are like either fake pools, or I don't know why there's 4 pools of one token here. I can dive deeper into that, but this is searching by total market cap. So you can see here Shrapnel. Pangolin's the second project on the entire Avalanche chain, Biggie. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Pegaxy is third.
It was the OG Dex before Trader Joe's came and ate their lunch.
Okay.
Yeah, I played a lot with Avalanche in the past cycle. I like it. It's great. Krabadon's still there. That was like supposed to be the Axie Infinity. of their ecosystem. It's got its own pair chain now. We'll see how well it performs. I haven't heard much from it. What else? There's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know what has survived and what's got any notoriety these days. Again, for like my experience, what I did last time was participate. I sent you the link here in the private chat. You can pull it up if you'd like to. For Avalanche, like that was kind of like my go-to to invest in new and up-and-coming protocols and see which ones survived. Obviously, most of them died, but there's a couple that are still running strong and could run again this next cycle. But you know, they have a Telegram channel where they announce like the new stuff that's coming up, and you can see what's kind of has potential.
This is also, I mean, we touched on there being no NFT volume. CryptoSlam was showing some other volume, but I don't think it was that much more than what DAP Radar was showing, unless I read that incorrectly. But Peak NFT is being launched by Avalanche, it looks like. So that might be a native NFT marketplace over here on Avalanche to keep your eye out for.
And then the other one I sent you is Colony. And that one launched on Avalanche, and it survived this bear. And it's basically like I guess the best way to describe it is like an ETF type of DAO. So like if you weren't able to invest through Avalanche, you might be able to do it through Colony. Again, the word DAO is a bit dirty, and we all know why. So just DYOR. But these two, I think, are like a great projects to track for Signal, right? Like what's up and coming, what are people going to invest in or are looking to invest in, and what could potentially do well, blow up. So yeah, so my only 2 cents for AVAX.
All right, my other co-hosts up here taking in this info. Do you guys have any other takes here on Avalanche or anything else before we close out the episode?
Nothing on Avalanche at all. But before we close out, I wanted to hit a couple data points, and I could share that in the closing.
Okay.
One last thing, you know, there was some, I guess, FUD. There was some drama around Avalanche about a year ago, or like 6 to 8 months. Like something came out where they were basically creating smear campaigns against their competitors. I don't know that was ever proven out. We were trying to look into that, and it doesn't seem like anything came out of that. So whatever happened with that seems like it was kind of forgotten. And I have heard from people that have worked with the team that they have a robust dev community of people who like being on Avalanche, which is, again, that's a very good thing for a chain to have, right? Like you want to have happy devs that want to be there. So that's just kind of anecdotal shit. All
right, Henry's saying AVAX has BenKey, VectorFi, StakeHut, Yield Yak, Dexalot, GoGoPool, GMX. He's also saying Hyperspace Marketplace for NFTs. So
several of those launched on Avalanche, by the way.
Okay. All right. So a lot of good info here on the Avalanche chain. Hopefully we can dive in here, maybe with some builders on that side too.
Dude, you can pull up the scroll thing when you got a chance.
What's the scroll thing?
Oh, it's in the private chat, but we can do it after.
Yeah. Okay. Wanted to briefly show this. This was posted about 20 minutes ago, so while we were live. But we do have to get out of here soon, so maybe jump in tomorrow. All right, so a quick little video there. It looks like Portal's partnering with Magic Eden. Official distribution partnership with Magic Eden. Alongside ETH, Sol, and Bitcoin, Portal token and ecosystem NFTs will be supported in the ME marketplace. Any thoughts?
I wish I farmed it. I'm tired of missing out on everything, but it's a good look for them.
Portal, there's still a very good chance that Portal turns out to be a nothing burger and it's a bunch of hype and vaporware and bullshit. So caveat, all of that. But there's also a chance that it ends up being like one of the most obvious fucking things ever, because it's everywhere. And I think a lot of people stick their heads in the sand sometimes when they're annoyed by certain things. And sometimes that's with good reason, but also again, what they've accomplished in just a few weeks of going completely viral and amassing so much brand awareness and getting so many people engaging with their shit, there's very few projects that have ever achieved that level of notoriety and engagement and people that are interested in whatever they're building in such a short amount of time. And that's why I've farmed it a little bit. I haven't been farming it as much as I should. I farmed it a little bit, but it's just to be part of it in case it is a thing, because I'm particularly bullish on things that can integrate well into X, especially, and because that's where the crypto community is.
All right, last story here, Biggie Poppins. Scroll.
Speaking of doing things like little things like what GIF was doing, I maybe have again DYOR NFA, man. This came up on my timeline very quickly, but the more I'm researching, the more bullish I'm getting. If you go into their Discord, there might be still an opportunity for you to get an airdrop by doing a couple of like quick transactions. It's a ZK rollup. It's backed by some really prominent investors. The distribution is great. It's focused on decentralization. I'll just tell you a couple of things of the reasons why I'm getting more bullish on it. First of all, it's a ZK rollup, which I'm more bullish on than Optimisms for reasons of security. It trades off security for a little bit of speed, unnoticeable, really, in most normies' eyes. Having said that, what I like about this one is that it's proof of stake. It is not, it's proof of work, not proof of stake. So it's really trying to ensure decentralization and being unable to be censored, right? Which is something that we all value very much here in this space. The founders are phenomenal, and I tinkered with it a little bit. It seems to be performant. I think like their mainnet is live already. They're gonna have like an airdrop like pretty soon. So if you like go into their Discord, they might have like a couple of like little quests or things that you can do to ensure that. Doesn't cost a lot. You can just like bridge like a small amount, but yeah, impressive. I did not see this one coming, but I think it's definitely a contender. One of the things that I'm also very bullish about this one is that the way it was designed, the devs that did it, make it so that it's pretty seamless and comparable to an Optimism rollup, right? Where you don't, you know, in other words, if you wanted to port Uniswap or your app into Scroll, it takes a lot of the tinkering that you would have to do in order to do that, being a ZK rollup, out of the way, which I think is significant. Like I have not seen another ZK rollup provide that type of tooling, and if it works seamlessly, then optimistic rollups are going to have something to worry about. So yeah, something to just kind of like, yeah, maybe not sleep on.
Where's the team based out of? Do you know?
Well, if you look at them, I think I think I don't know where they're based at.
That's fine.
They're all Asian.
I saw a
super fucking smart.
I saw a lot of
Ethereum devs too. So that's also something to take into consideration.
They might have just been on a Japan tour, but I was wondering if this protocol is based out of Japan. But they might have just been on a tour.
If it's based in Asia, even better.
Yeah, right? That's what that's why I was trying to ask.
More bullish. Yeah, no, I have a couple of podcasts that I found where they've talked about it that I'm going to be diving into to learn more about it. But yeah, you might be eligible for an airdrop, so we'll get thee to the Discord and just play around with it for a sec or two.
Awesome. All right, guys, that's going to be it for today's episode of NFT Live. We are going to be back tomorrow. We do short versions of NFT Live essentially in our rehash, which is essentially 10 to 12 minutes of all of these stories that we talk about into a compressed format, and anything that's come up while we were live as well makes its way on there. So that's on our X profile and YouTube. Want to give a big shout out to everybody who tuned in. DP's giving you a big
fucking DP
recommendation, man. Saying Scroll is fire. Okay. I got to look into that. Okay. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's episode. Let's go around the quad box. Again, thank you guys so much for tuning in, supporting the episodes, liking over there on X and YouTube. You guys have been awesome. OVOT. Huda.
I'm hitting you with a couple milestones we hit last week. Real quick. Last week was a 41-week high for NFT sales, a 15-week high for transactions, an 83-week high for trade profits, and the market crossed $1.1 billion in a 30-day period. Guys, we are so fucking back. It's kind of crazy.
Pump me up, baby. Let's go. Biggie Poppins.
Dude, how can I follow that, man? Fuck yeah, Huda. I like that. I love you, fam. We'll see you tomorrow. OVOT.
Heck yeah. I got two quick things for y'all, but these are big things. These are interesting things. I'm giving away a trademark to a Coffins holder, a Jack Butcher trademark. This one right here, number 3731. So I will drop that link in the chat here in just a second if you want to get in on that. Anybody who mints a coffin between now and when it closes tomorrow night at midnight is one entry into this giveaway. Each coffin minted is one entry into this giveaway. And then the last thing that I gotta share is, of course, Take the Throne. Tomorrow night at 6 p.m., look at these amazing people joining us on the round table. There's going to be so many giveaways. It's such a good time. If you've never joined one of these, you got to join it. Sarah Script, Cake Nygaard, Claire McGuire, Star Wardy, Jay Yacht, Melissa Mimosa, Dan Carr, CEO from Nifty Kit, myself will be hosting a very, very awesome celebration. So many giveaways, so much awesome stuff happening. So check that out. I will also drop that in the chat for you right now. Make sure to RSVP and come hang out. And that's all I got.
Q, you have a Doge? You have a Doge, dog? I did not know. Oh my god.
It does look like, it looks like a Shiba Inu. Is that a Shiba Inu?
He's a mixed Shiba. He's a mixed Shiba.
He's a Shiba Doge. That's cute.
I want a puppy.
All right, we're back in profits and back in the vibes, man. Love to see it. We'll be back tomorrow.